My beloved Galatea, after I learned the terrible truth about the golden statues, I wandered the city as if in a nightmare. What must life be like for these poor souls, entombed in gold, but kept alive somehow? Trapped in their own personal Tartarus, consigned to eternal torment, too horrific for any sane mind to comprehend. I tried to offer them what small mercies I could. I began to talk to them, to keep them company. I'd imagine backstories for them, give them names, and tell them of the world, of the histories and stories I'd learned as a child. As the others became more concerned by my charity, I sought solitude from them, preferring the company of my tormented charges. Discovering a way into the abandoned palace, I began to spend my days walking its halls and sharing with its occupants ancient tales, my mind turning to those of Apollo and Daphne, Perseus and Medusa, and Pygmalion and Galatea. Pygmalion, the sculptor who fell in love with a beautiful statue, and who, praying to Aphrodite for aid, discovered that his beloved Galatea had come to life. It was then that I heard you whisper to me, Galatea. Forgive me. I know that is not your real name, just one I have borrowed from a story. But when I turned to look at you, I saw the most exquisitely beautiful woman I have ever known. Your face, forever frozen in a look of haunting sadness. Our meeting gave me new purpose, to free you from your golden prison, so that I might one day hear you speak, not just whisper your true name to me. So I gathered tools for the long and difficult task ahead, barred the doors to this place, and set to work.
terrified.
My beloved Galatea, my attempts at freeing these souls from their golden prisons have not been going to plan. My first charge was a Greek woman who I called Iodame after the Athenian turned to stone by Medusa. Drilling through the gold that encased her, I was vindicated by the discovery that beneath half an inch of gold, which is so rigid it must be some kind of alloy, was living flesh. Unfortunately, this golden alloy seems to have fused with her skin, so removing it exposed the sinew and muscle beneath and appeared to cause her great pain. At first, I braced myself, expecting that inflicting such pain would break the golden rule, and yet, somehow, it did not. It seems whichever god is responsible for imprisoning these poor souls does not care about their suffering at all. They are forsaken. Undeterred, I pressed on, working late into the night, attempting to remove the golden layer that encased her as delicately as I could. Eventually, I was able to free most of her body, but when I released her from her restraints, her first act was to lunge for my throat, clawing at me with all her strength and those sharp metal talons. This was my thanks for trying to save her. Whatever possessed Iodame to attack, she was clearly not a suitable subject for my experiment, and I was forced to lock her inside an isolated bar the door. Continued working on others, I could hear her flailing and launching herself at the other side endlessly. Regrettably, my other experiments bore similar results, and after relocating a few times, most of the palace is now too dangerous to work in. Still, as much as my heart aches to know that you're suffering, I cannot risk attempting to ungild you yet. Not until I have perfected a method that will bring you back to me, whole in both mind and body, and ensuring your humanity is preserved. I promise you this. One day we will be together, even if I have to free every last statue in this god's forsaken place.
Make it so.
And you must be the wretched snake who broke into my palace and disturbed my experiments. And, worst of all, look at what you made me do to her. This never would have happened if you just stayed away. You're going to pay for that. You think you can bring me down with your little wooden arrows before I jam this blade into your throat? What? How? That's impossible. You're trying to intimidate me. Liar. Really? I'm not sure I believe you. But I imagine it... But if you're lying to me, I'll break the golden rule and kill you and everyone else in this city. Understood? You did it. You took away her pain. I don't know what to say. Thank you, thank you. I swear I will never harm her again. I swear it. I'll stay here to keep her company. But these poor souls, what can be done for them? I've tried everything I can. I fear the only one capable of releasing them properly is whichever god doomed them in the first place. In any case, I must honor our bargain. Here's the key I promised you. It opens a chest in the Shrine of Apollo. I believe there are a few things in there which may be useful to Lucretia. Now, please leave. The door here leads out onto the palace balcony. You should be able to make your way down. Go, and never return.
Fortune smile on you, sister. Ah, it's you again. Hope you're settling in, friend. Now, what's on your mind? Well, it's a long one, and I'm a farmer. Always have been. I grew up in a small village in Britannia, Camulodunum, with my parents and 2 little sisters. Lovely part of the world. One day, when I was about 20, my father and I were in the top paddock, loading our cart, when some Roman legionaries came along, demanding produce for their men. My father told me to run into the house for his axe, and so I did. Sprinted so fast I almost threw up, but by the time I got back, he was bleeding out on the ground, and our cart was empty. That was my first encounter with the legions. My mother died of a broken heart soon after, and things went downhill from there. I took over the farmstead, but I was young, and it was a struggle. More raiding started before too long. We'd come outside in the morning to find animals missing, our stores pillaged. These Legion thugs just took whatever they wanted. One night, when my sisters and I had nothing left to steal, there was a knock at the door. I knew who they were, and what they wanted. I got my father's old axe, pulled the door open real quick, and before that soldier knew it, split his face right down the middle. There were more. I never saw how many, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up with a mouth full of dirt and lungs full of smoke. My home was rejected. My sisters, dead. And they left me alive to see what they'd done. Still burns whenever I think about it. Yeah, well, unfortunately, there were just too many of them. And those of us who survived, they enslaved. So, then I found myself being transported all the way to Rome to be sold to the highest bidder. I spent a few years working for my new master, learning the Romans' ways, Romanized my name and everything. Tried to escape a couple of times, but they always found me, and I'd just end up right back where I was. I'd probably still be there too, if it wasn't for the stampedes breaking out. You see, about 7 months ago, an enormous fire broke out in Rome. Everybody was running down toward the river, screaming and shouting. I'd never seen anything like it. Human beings acting like cattle. I got swept up with them somehow, and the rest is a blur. The next thing I knew, some stranger was dragging me out of a river. Stumbled across this place and I started my life over again. That's what I thought too, for a while. But it seems the gods aren't done tormenting me yet. See, I finally had my own farm again, safe from the grasping hands of the Romans. Or so I thought. Until Sentius the Decurion demanded I hand over all my produce. It's for the good of us all, he says. Only he takes the best bits for himself, of course. He even told me if I refuse his demands, I'll break the golden rule. I'm not sure I believe him, but then... what if he's right? So, it turns out our dear old magistrate is no better than the Legion thugs who took everything from me. I'm right back where I began. But don't you worry, Nemesis is waiting. And he'll get his, one day. He'll get his. Forget I said that last part, will you? I get carried away, sometimes. Thanks, friend. I knew I liked you. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Was there... I've bounced the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never going to do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the election stitched up. Nobody's gonna take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about... because Sentius put him there. Poor Dooley was just wandering around looking for some imaginary treasure. Now a magistrate accused him of being a thief. That's nonsense. And how could you know that? I mean, I don't like the man, but I don't see how you could know it. You overheard him say that? Oh, why does that not surprise me? Well, if you can do that... I can't see how I could vote for either candidate. I don't like Sentius much, but Malleolus is almost as bad. Even I could do a better... Well, as much as I'd love to get out of here, the harvest's always more fruitful in another man's field, isn't it? But Scintilla, if anyone knows... Oh, I don't give it much thought these... But I say... All right.
On your best behavior, I trust?
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. Can't talk long, so to stay sharp, but... family's from Seleucia on Tigris. Babylon province. But I've been roaming a long time now. Even joined the legions. The 6th. The one they call Ironclads. Same way as everyone else. Because we're all in grave danger. Is it not obvious? Magistrate made me toss it in the chasm. Stupid. Going to have to improvise now. If you were dealing with what I am, you wouldn't be either. None of your business. in Troite ipsum convincula. If we have to. Meliodas. Not sure I trust Sentius. No. If I did, do you think we'd be having this conversation? I'll tell you this much. I hate the fact that my survival... I mean, all these people... seems... I don't know. Of course I am. Whatever.
Oh, hello there, partner. You see, but when I opened it... Partner, there's no need for threats. Yeah, well, I don't have to listen to this. Get lost.
Salve.
What is it, citizen? All right?
Wow, isn't that a big long boat? Back again. Couldn't... Certainly, for 10 denarii.
On your best behavior,
Have
I
you
trust?
met Livia? She used to do my hair, until one day she just... snapped. This place has that effect on people. Now, she just stands around, caked in filth, muttering nonsense to herself. It's a real shame. Now I have to do my own hair. I hear that if Malleolus is elected, he's gonna throw a small festival to celebrate, with entertainment and everything. Can't wait to find out what it is. There used to be a midwife here, Naevia, but this place drove her mad as a Maenad. Said she could hear the statues whispering to her. Can you imagine? Fortunately for us, she locked herself in the palace weeks ago and hasn't been seen since. Good riddance, I say. Whatever you like. All right.
Malleolus isn't receiving visitors at the moment. Yeah? What have you got for me? Hey, Caput Murde. Futuere es. Just make it good. Os in Coolio mio. Just make it good. If you set one foot in that villa without permission, I'll skin you alive.
ship, you will finally enjoy the freedom you deserve. And, yes, what is it? No more shall you walk on eggshells, yes. No more shall you walk on eggshells, fearing simply to live and breathe because the tyrant Sentius told you it was forbidden. Yes, you thought of my first act. My first act as magistrate, I hereby announce a day of, a day of celebration. I hereby announce a day of celebration to mark the end of an era. Yes.
Did you just scale the wall to my villa somehow? I must remember to have words with that buffoon Domitius. Well, why have you risked life and limb to see me? I'm Malleolus, and if it wasn't for this interruption, I'd be practicing my victory speech for the election later today. I'm glad you asked. I'll finally restore freedom to this city, just as I've been promising. These good people have suffered long enough under Sentius's tyranny. By declaring there's no such thing as the Golden Rule, it's a children's fable exploited by Sentius to frighten us into submission. Wait, don't tell me you've fallen victim to that monstrous lie? The person making a claim bears the owner... Nonsense! Surely you're not one of those people who believe... I disagree. I'll be... What? Oh, I see what's happening here. True, but that... My name is Marcus Malleolus Gurgis. You seem to have confused me with someone else. You mean my heterochromia? I am guilty of nothing more than having different coloured eyes. And I'm hardly the only person with the condition. Alexander the Great had it too, as it happens. I like to think it is simply the way the gods have chosen to mark a natural-born ruler. Nothing more. Well, I am not suffering from any delusions. Unlikely, because... Of course not. But as I always say, if Sentius can't protect his daughter, how can we trust him to protect this city? Look, if you're trying to find her, you may wish to check the cisterns beneath this villa. Domitius says he saw a body there. Of course, just... You mean the... I'm afraid not. We're stuck... Are you insane? You barge into my villa, uninvited, and then make... Why would I with...
many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and why you look like you've just taken on a gladiator and lost? Oh, sounds serious. I'm listening. Alright, let me see. Stop Fabia going in, but send the new arrival to the empty shrine. Understood. I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culus cumbulatus Decius won't give it to me. It's too late. She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally I'd treat her with resin of Silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Decius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it. Then that toad shrugs and says, "Supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly." Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall, but there's no way I can do that down here. So and now I'll never know. Well, unless you have the get me, I don't care. Aisu. I'm Lucretia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Navia's clinic. I'm tired. Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease. But the god who... Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician. But she was and she's been one of my... I really should... He's become... I just know... Really? That would be wonderful. Thank you. Let me...
Wonder how much one of these statues is worth. Hello there, friend. May I say, that is a glorious bow you are you well, stranger? Have you been out... Certainly. That's hardly my Oh, it's perfectly legal. Simply a question of supply. Hear what? You sure you're feeling all right? If you're hearing things, perhaps... She claimed the statues were whispering to her, but I digress. Well, if you did that, you... Do you think I don't know a bluff when I see one? Oh, you... Pleasure doing business. Can I... Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of... Certainly. It's terrible for inflation. Of course. Thank you. I'm afraid... You mean, how did I... All right. Mostly... See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, hoping to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing through a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done. The girl? Weren't you listening? All my valuables or the girl? I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money. So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the Tiber. Naturally, I dived in after it, hoping to salvage my fortune. Only, when I came... I couldn't agree more. I mean, look around. Very well.
A new face, are they? I'm quite sure we are, but here, I find... Would you like... Wonderful. It goes like this. Borsis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door, asking for a place to stay the night. Of course, being vagrants, they're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all, until finally they come to the little cottage where Borsis and Philemon lived. Now the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Borsis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic. Realizing only a select few possess such powers, says to her husband, Philemon, "I think these men are gods in disguise." Immediately the couple begins apologizing for offering false wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test, but everyone else in this city failed, so we are going to destroy this place and everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish." So old Borsis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together. Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat and wipes that city off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor the sacred rituals of guest friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between hosts and guests. But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves. A cynic philosopher might take that. Interesting. Yes, I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river cut. What else? Yes, I also had such an What else? Keep asking Livia. Come back.
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step. Whatever.
Feeling all right? Thank you. I'm really glad you arrived when you did. A city with Oh no. They are what? Well, she used to run the clinic until she said this changed the last time, and then she's been. But he's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off. I just know. Thanks. Sure. What? How did you know that? Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody put Hemlock, I believe. I haven't seen her in months. She's not allowed to leave Malleolas's villa, and they are quite secretive. Gladly. I wish some people just... Well...
Hello? Hello? You're going to... Hilarious. What about... Like... Go? Go. My friend Hannah, he all up now. Bye-bye.
Greetings and salutations. Greetings. I'm Georgius. And I must... I have... And... Is this a riddle? We will... My... You mean to... I'll tell you. Oh, and there is a... If we are... A good question. A very good question indeed. And I would be happy to tell you if only I could remember it clearly myself. I remember... Now, this time, when I... Indeed, I went to... Anything you... Shh. I must ask you to stop that at once. Have you not been... Oh. Of course, the first question any of... And scale... But as they see... I had... There were... They heard... So it's in... That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some reflection, I'm leaning toward voting for Malleolus. I do... Nothing comes... Yeah. Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? He was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld. When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, she did not punish Hades, the guilty one. Instead, she changed the climate of Earth, so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks, and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands, until at last the other gods were forced to act, lest they have no worshippers left. So yes, we know this rule. This has always been the case. The Golden Rule has merely brought it into focus. If we are to survive, I say we must each heed the simple wisdom of Thales of Miletus, first of the 7 sages of Greece, who said, "Avoid doing what you would blame others for doing." does, doesn't it? But it is not enough for us to do this alone. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a single selfish act. Ah, the voice of experience. I am sorry for your loss, my friend. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the Golden Rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do make magnificent models for my clothing, do they not? I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend. Hello again. I hope...
That's quite an impressive
How come you're allowed a weapon and I'm... Malleolus isn't receiving visit. Whatever.
Thank you. Thank you. I am... Domitius doesn't usually let... Of course not. Ha! What? You fool.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me... Oh. Alright, then. I'll go.
The 49 melodies fetch again, just as the but it... The new...
On your best behavior, I trust?
Hey, Horatius. How's it feel knowing your man's doomed to lose the elect? Hey! You're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you? Nobody's told you about Hannibal? Ugh. Why do I have to do everything round here? So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day, a few weeks back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right? Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body, sprawled out on the ground. And hunched over him was something that made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed. And it was eating Hannibal. What any sane person would have done. I legged it out of there and put a sign at the door to warn the others. Well, it's your future.
You? Who are you? Did he send you? And you know you're here. You have to help me escape. I'm Centilla. I think he wants to keep us all here forever. Or until we're turned to gold. He's a monster. You have to let me go so we can kill him and take his key. Sentius, my adopted father. Furies, help me. I'll castrate and crucify him. I don't know. Behind me. The only problem... I'm going to take that key from around it. I'm done. There won't be enough time. Just you and me. There's no time. Wait, did you hear that? He's here. Quick. What? No, you can't. I hate you. I spit on you. You're back. What? No. It's no use. You'll never persuade him. You're making...
So you survived the system.
Whatever are you wearing? Oh, I wish Horatius would... Oh. Oh no. The question is, what was it doing in the cistern? A skeleton? What do you mean? But didn't Domitius say there's some kind of creature... What are you saying? That somebody crept down? Why would anyone do... But who? Who could have a reason to do that? That is an extremely serious accusation. So this is just... I've heard enough. Kindly keep...
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. We have? I must have entrusted... Is that about right? Ah, I see. Look, it's unfortunate. Now, You mean Duilius? Releasing him? Perhaps you're not... Look, I can see where you're going with this. It was not so long... Here, a privilege that would... The man had... I will... I've had plenty of time to think. I've always... Give the real... I trust... Of course. Yes? Why then? It looks like... Me? Al Worth. The fellow who came... Come now. didn't think you were the only one here who remembered. You see, but I mean, and yet, because there's no escape. Except the path that Al took, the path he wrote about. So, you discovered my... Why? And as long as this... I have found a way to prolong my life. And why would I agree to that? You might want to think that through. If... you and your pathetic morality. Understand? What are you going... Now, get out.
Isn't the great temple majestic? A new face. Well, this might sound like... Karen? Oh. I apologize. Have you... I read... Good. I just... You have? That's true. What else? Yes, what else? It's as I feared. You mentioned earlier. I see. And what? Because I've seen her before. But don't follow... You're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H-A-R-O-N, as in Charon, the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I take it you know what this means. I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld, and why his epithet has always been Father of Riches. I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions, so I'll try to... That was my first thought too. But it was also possible for the living to Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman, or even Greek, you would know these stories. Each of them is slightly different. Whether the but they always involved the souls of the dead, meeting a grim ferryman named Charon on the bank of a river. It was said that he'd help the new arrival cross, only if they could pay him with a coin, an obol. That's why it was once our custom to bury our loved ones with a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited this knowledge from the Greeks. To be fair, the ferryman isn't exactly as the poets described, and he, she, they seem to appear to different people in different guises. You say you saw a young woman named Karen with a hood, and I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress named Kerti, and Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kamut Tabal wearing an eagle headdress. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing a hood of some sort, and their name always began with a K sound. I suspect the only way you'll solve this riddle is if your paths cross again. No. I mean, I had my suspicions, especially after Livia's ramblings, but I would never have figured it out without your help, I promise you. Good question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always require a coin as payment for passage across the river, but that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal being need with coins? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one in our possession. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us had on us. That might explain why we wound up here, but so many others did not. Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it, if we don't want to be cast into gold for eternity. We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter, Orpheus, a Thracian poet, Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra, and Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have two options: to confront the god of the underworld head-on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina or some other guide. It's a reasonable question, but the problem is, this place is fairly well designed to keep us here. There's no way to climb up the shaft. And even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the golden rule. We know that, thanks to the writings left behind by those who've tried. All Romans try to avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention to yourself. Do so at your own peril. Is everyone so blunt where you're from? Oh. That option would be the boldest, but also the only way to learn the truth about the Golden Rule, and maybe even put an end to it. As I said, Hercules managed to overpower the god of the underworld, but he was a demigod. Forgive my candor, but you are no Hercules. Are you telling me that you can? I won't so. Who? But for the it looks if you. It's the you'll. Good question. To it would have had the god's name engraved into. When there's a they if I but I don't know. Perhaps Kabash, but I'm afraid you're on your own. As I meant, the it is, if the problem, leaving, truly, then it, can you fast, truly, alright, as, in any case, may for,
Whatever's in that great temple up there on... Hello there, friend. Well, I'll take your word for it. Now you're talking, I'm in. Oh, that's... All right, all right. Wait. Here's your money. Now, The location of that bow. What? But I already knew that, you imbecile. Everyone... I can't take that golden bow because stealing from the goddess in her own shrine would break the golden... You promised to tell me where I could get one of my own. What is this? Don't even talk to me.
Oh, shiny. Salve and welcome. Need. Oh, I suppose it was my pup. But I suppose the dry. Anyway. What? Good Pete, my friend. Well, I'm just. Well, Oh. That. All right.